Hello and welcome to the Rays of Hope program brought to you by the Purchase Area Sexual Assault Center. I'm your host for today, Mary Foley, and I'm so glad you've joined us. Oftentimes the winter months can be difficult, and today I hope that not only do you learn more about the cause that we talk about often here on Rays of Hope, which is sexual assault and prevention, and hopefully we provide hope to you every time you tune in. But today I want you to not just know about the center, I want you to know about the people that make the center what it is. And so today we're going to focus on hope, and I hope that you come away with a message of hope. And we have the staff here with us today, and we're going to begin with the clinical department. I'd like to welcome every one of you. This is the first time we've had you all together. So we have Lori Brown, the Director of Clinical Services. We have Leslie Prestel, a therapist for the center, and Teresa Morris. And so thank you all for coming today. Well, like I talked about at the beginning, I would like for the viewer to hear about hope today from two different perspectives. One, you as a therapist, how do you provide hope to the community, and what is the message of hope you'd like to send to viewers? But for you personally, this is a very difficult topic, or at least some people may perceive it to be. So how do you draw hope every day from the topics that you talk about and deal with on a daily basis with clients? So Lori, let's start with you. You're the Director of Clinical Services. Tell us a little bit about what you do, just in general at the center.
Well, we provide services to victims of sexual abuse and trauma. We do individual therapy, family therapy. We provide group therapy.
To victims of sexual assault of all ages, is that correct?
Victims of sexual assault of all ages, as well as their family and friends, people who are there to support them through this.
And these services are free of charge?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so I may be naive here, but I'm going to speak on behalf of viewers. They may think, wow, you go in every day and you deal with a topic like sexual assault.
Right.
So here at the holiday season and the winter months, what is the message of hope that you feel like viewers need to hear regarding that topic today?
Right, and actually that is true, Mary. I think that we all hear the question a lot, how do you do your job? How do you do that every day? And my response is always, it's not a negative. It's not difficult when you know. I think how we help people.
I see.
When you have an opportunity to actually, I think, witness the resiliency of humans, the potential there. When someone has been through one of the most difficult, painful experiences possible, and they're able to transform the effects of that trauma and that pain into something positive. For me, I think it's an amazing opportunity, and that's really the way that I look at it, as an opportunity. I think that we feel very blessed to have that opportunity to work with these special individuals who have survived these types of experiences.
So the outcome, I guess, is hope for you.
Right, exactly, the outcome.
And Leslie, tell me a little bit about you, what you do at the center, how long you've been with the center.
I've been with the center for almost 3.5 years, and I work out of the Paducah and our satellite office in Mayfield.
Okay. And so, you know, like Lori, you see clients, I'm assuming. And so how do you draw hope every day when you sit across from a client? What is hope to you?
Hope to me is seeing them fight those negative thoughts, feeling like they're alone, no one else is out there, them learning that they're not alone, they're not going crazy with some of the things that are going on with them. They're very normal for trauma. Seeing them heal and get to the point where they don't need me anymore is hope to me.
Thank you. And Teresa, for you, tell the viewers who you are and how long you've been with the center.
Well, I've been with the center for a little over 3 years now. I am a therapist that works out of our Paducah office and our satellite office in Murray.
Okay. And so for you, I'm sure it's similar to what we've heard from the other two, but for you personally, what is hope for you in terms of dealing with clients every day?
Well, of course, everything that they have already said, and I also find hope in being a part of the healing journey that they are on. I truly feel honored in hearing the things and seeing the process that our clients are going through. That is such an honor to be a part of, and it does bring me hope to hear the resiliency and the strength of the individuals who come through our doors.
Okay, well that sounds wonderful to me. So you've brought I see some pictures with you, and I assume that they'll give us a more in-depth look at clients. Just talk to me about what you've brought and how that encompasses hope for the holidays.
I think that these pictures actually kind of show you the process.
Okay.
These pictures were painted by a group of teenage survivors. I think they were ages about 13 to 16. And the first picture here that Leslie's holding kind of represents the pain, the trauma, the negative of what they've experienced. And then Teresa's holding the positive aspect. This is what these girls have gotten out of the negative, painful experience. They were able to, I think, reach within themselves and find the courage and the strength and the determination that they needed in order to deal with and to cope with and to heal from what they've been through.
So if we could, I'd like to get another close-up of the pain one that you have presented. So this was a group of adolescent girls that did this particular one. And so on this particular painting, I see the word suffer. I think that says, does that say reaction? Distance, hate, evil, hurt. Are these common responses, feelings that someone that might be watching that may have been victimized or know someone that's victimized, is that a common reaction to trauma?
Oh, absolutely. To feel like very isolated, like you're the only one that this has happened to. I think that's even on there, something about being alone. To feel the suffering and pain that goes along with this type of victimization. Lots of negative, overwhelming feelings. It's very confusing because the reaction to trauma doesn't feel normal. And it's very overwhelming and very intense and hard to make sense of. And if you look at that picture, I think that does represent a lot of the chaos that goes along with trauma.
And is that your other two experiences as well, just in terms of who you deal with? Does that change with age, or is that pretty much how things go for any victim at any age?
I think it's pretty much how it goes for anybody at any age.
So, you know, we have the whole aspect of just the pain that I think the viewers would expect to hear. I know that I would expect if I were watching this program to think, wow, you know, sexual violence is terrible and what they must go through. But that's not what we want to focus on at this point. What we want to focus on is the second picture that we've already shown the viewers, but if we could get another close-up of that as well. I see things like peace and hope. I think learning, experience, cheerful love and power, respect, happiness. It doesn't matter which one of you wanted to speak to this. Was this the same group?
Same group of girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so one of the most interesting words I find on that poster is learning. How do you think that fits in, and why is that a hopeful process for the client?
Well, we do a lot of education when a victim is first presents to the center. We do a lot of education on the trauma and the things that they are experiencing, such as the pain and the suffering, and really try to normalize a lot of those things for them. But we also help them learn coping skills, how to deal with all the negativity that they are dealing with.
I see. And so I guess, Lori, this is, and Leslie and Teresa, all of you have mentioned this process. So this is sort of a visual, I guess, picture of the transformation that can take place if somebody is able to, I guess, embrace the hope of what could be.
Right.
What are some obstacles, briefly, that clients may face that would keep them from finding the hope that you speak of today?
Right. I think sometimes, I think the nature of what they're dealing with is something that we want to avoid. You know, it's painful, it's difficult, it's hard, and so human nature is to avoid that. And so I think one of the obstacles would be to continue to do that, to try to push it away, you know, forget it, move on, because it just doesn't work that way. No matter what the tendency is to do that, it continues to come back up. And so I think that is the biggest obstacle, is to try to avoid what they've been through, when actually learning how to face it and work through it is much easier than what they're doing right now.
And I would think that one of the most hopeful things that we're demonstrating, that you're demonstrating today, is that people aren't alone. There is help available. Do you find that people are concerned about that idea that they're alone, they're going to come in and say something that no one else has ever said? And if so, Leslie, what do you tell them?
We just give out a lot of statistics on how many people we see a year, and sometimes I'll tell them as I go through all the symptoms of trauma, this is probably how you're feeling, and they say, yes, that's it, and they're absolutely amazed. It's almost like
Relieved.
yeah, relieved
to see that.
And I can say so many people feel this, and this is so normal to feel this way.
I think it's really amazing too to see someone have an opportunity to interact with other survivors, you know, in a group setting. They get so much support and so much recognition within that group when they have an opportunity to talk to other people who've been through what they've been through.
So I guess sort of in summary, and then we have just a small amount of time left on this segment, so I'd like to give you an opportunity to just sort of close out yourself. But in summary, I hear you saying that yes, sexual violence is real, and yes, it's a terrible crime, and yes, there are some long-lasting and far-reaching consequences, and nobody's here to debate that.
No.
However, there is a center that has specialized people in place to help. They're not alone. They themselves, in their own words, have said they have found peace and hope and love and all of these things. And so that's a message of hope in and of itself. But the purpose of today's program was to be up close and personal with people that provide hope every day. So just quickly and briefly, could each of you just finally say either a message to the viewer or just a message about hope from your heart to the community today?
I guess my message would be to speak out about what's happened to you. If something has happened, know that you are not alone, that there are people who are here to go through that journey with you.
Thank you. Leslie?
Mine is support. If you know someone who has a history of sexual abuse in their past, just try to be supportive. Don't be afraid of what's going on. Just try to be there.
Thank you.
For them.
Lori?
And again, I think I would say that if you are someone who has been affected by sexual violence, or you are someone who loves someone who has been affected by sexual violence, that you are not alone, that there are people out there to help, that we are at the center to help, and that even though it's been difficult so far, that there are certainly things that you can do that are going to make things better, that there is hope for things to change and to improve, and that that path of healing, that you already have the things that you need, and we are here to assist you to help you find those things and utilize those things and give you the support that you may need along that road.
Thank you so much, all of you, for coming. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here. And for you, the viewer, please don't go away. This was just up close and personal with the clinical department of the Purchase Area Sexual Assault Center. We will be giving information about the center at the end of the program. Next, we'll be talking to the Director of Volunteer Services and the Victim's Advocate. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to Rays of Hope. I'm your host, Mary Foley. We're taking an in-depth and up-close look at the Purchase Area Sexual Assault Center staff, and I hope that you draw hope from what we talk about today, because our theme is hope for the holidays. And with me for this segment, I have our Victims Advocate, Leanne Garland, and the Director of Volunteer Services, Lynn Russell. Thank you both for joining me for the program. I'm just going to start with you, Leanne. I'd like for you to tell the viewer what you do and how long you've been with the center.
I'm the victim advocate. I've been with the center almost 3.5 years. What I do is I go with victims of sexual assault to the police department through the beginning steps of their assault, after the assault, when they decide to talk about it, and then all the way through the legal process.
Okay. So you help them navigate the whole judicial system and process and meet with them.
Right.
Well, I think that would be a very important role for somebody that would choose to take that step. And Lynn, tell the viewers who you are, how long you've been with the center, and what you do.
Okay, I'm the Director of Volunteer Services. I've been with the center almost 2 years.
Okay.
And basically what we do is we meet the clients or victims at the hospital at the initial crisis.
I see. So you sort of oversee that volunteer team of individuals. And how many volunteers does the center have right now?
We have a staff of 49 volunteers right now.
Okay, and so they help with various things from events to advocacy?
To advocacy, which is the medical, going into the hospital with them, or manning the crisis line.
Okay, and so I think that brings up a good point. Tell the viewer about the 24-hour crisis line and what they can expect if they call.
Okay, our 24-hour crisis line, like I said, it's 24 hours. They can call if they just need somebody to listen to them, if they have questions, if they just need somebody just to talk to them, and to know that somebody out there cares and that they're not by themselves for it.
Thank you. And so I think the number is on the screen, and so folks can jot down that information should they need it. So thank you so much for all that you do. Well, I'd like to just allow you to give us an up-close and personal look, not only at what you do personally, but what clients have gained from working with you. So could both of you provide me with a story of hope, provide the viewer with a story of hope? And Leanne, we'll start with you.
Well, every client that goes or that chooses to go through the legal process is hope for me, because it is sexual assault in itself is so underreported. Seeing the individuals that do want to go forward with it, the strength and the courage that they show is really offers a lot of hope to me, and I think to the people in the community that see them go forward with that. From their initial time when they go to the hospital and meet with a volunteer there, all the way through, you know, those very first moments where they're processing the assault, and then watching them go through the entire process to the very end when they're able to face their attacker and say, you know, this is wrong, and I'm here to say it is.
Wow.
So
And
that's really hopeful for me.
Sure. And then, do you ever have those moments? I'm sure you do, but could you tell us about those moments when the court or the outcome is exactly what you had hoped for? What is that like when a perpetrator does get a sentence?
When a perpetrator gets their sentence, when we're there with the victim, it's really just kind of I don't know, it's just one of those moments you just can't put a word to. The victim just feels so much
Vindication.
I mean, and that people listened, and you know, and that they weren't alone through it, and that what they did was worth it. It's really inspiring.
I see. So the hope to speak out, I guess, is certainly brings hope to your job. And then, Lynn, for you, you know, we talked a little bit before this segment, and you know, you do hear from volunteers when they go to the hospitals and they see the initial assault firsthand, and I'm sure you have a huge list of stories of hope that you could bring to the program today. But you've chose a different route for a very special reason. There is somebody that you encountered that really embodied hope to you. Could you take a few moments to share that story with us?
Okay, well, all of our volunteers offer hope to their clients, but sometimes even in the midst of their own trials and tribulations of everyday life. We did have a volunteer who was very special in a way. She was dealing with an illness, and even though she was fighting a life and death battle, she felt like she didn't want to wallow in her own battle. She wanted to reach out to others.
Wow.
So she became one of our volunteers. She offered hope to those victims that she encountered. She was there for everything, and even though she was having to go running back and forth to the hospitals to Nashville and all that, but she did offer that hope to them, and through watching her, it offered hope to me, and I think most of the staff too.
Sure. And so she lost that battle.
She did lose that battle a few weeks ago.
And so I'm sure that's quite a void for you.
Yes, it left a big empty hole in the volunteers.
But her hope obviously lives on because of all that she demonstrated to us. And isn't that sort of what I guess you're both saying today, is that despite what victims go through, their hope lives on? How are you changed having encountered victims of sexual assault?
I know whenever I go to court with victims that have gone through there, and I've seen them face their attackers and that type of thing, their strength and that type of thing helps me whenever I come across other victims. Whenever I meet those new victims that come through the doors and they're just beginning that process, I'm able to say I've seen people do it. You know, it's in there. You can do it. And, you know, and other victims going through the process gives hope to victims that aren't able to speak out yet.
I see. And for you, Lynn, you know, I think that just the very fact that people are able to give of themselves speaks to hope for the human spirit.
Because we offer that hope to the clients.
And you see people that are willing to leave in the middle of the night, leave their family, go to the hospital. How does that show hope to you, your volunteers' willingness to serve?
That shows me that people are willing to make a difference in someone else's life, and not to, you know, it's not all about me anymore. They're willing to reach out, and to me that is hope.
I agree, especially in today's world. I agree. It's nice to see people that are willing to make a difference. You know, we don't have very long, unfortunately, on this segment, but I want to make sure that you have an opportunity, yes, to talk about what you do and to talk about what you see, but I'd like to hear from your heart as well. In terms of your work with the center, in terms of you going to work every day, what is hope to you, and what message would you like to give viewers today?
I think I'd have to say that hope to me is just the little things, the small things that make the difference, that make the little things that each individual person does makes a huge difference in many people's lives.
Okay, thank you. And Lynn, what about you? Every day you go in, you deal with volunteers that are giving of their time. You're managing schedules. You're looking at crisis call documentation. How do you come away? How do you make sense of the overall theme of hope every day?
Basically, I just look at it that if we can make a difference in one person's life at that initial crisis to start that healing journey, that's hope for me.
Well, I thank you both so much for coming. I want to just say before we close, and I wish I'd have mentioned it a little earlier, but you and I were talking and you shared with me a story about a detective who took the time to write a letter to a victim as they were going through the court and judicial process. Could you briefly tell about that and sort of end on how that brought hope to the client and how those little things that you spoke of really do make the difference?
A very rare circumstance. We had a detective that did write a letter to the victim and talking about their strength and how they know that this small little bit, what little bit they could do isn't enough to make it right, but that they're working to do everything they can. And that just has inspired that victim to stay with the process. She is more trusting in the system because of it.
I see. So one of those little things made a huge difference. Thank you so much for coming, Leanne. Thank you, Lynn. And thank you for continuing to watch. And sort of the message that I hear from this segment is that you have the opportunity to make a difference, to be the difference. It's the little things that make the most difference. It's the letter, it's the card, it's the phone call, it's the supportive ear. So during the winter months, during this time of hope and the season of hope, regardless of how you do it, whether you help with a Purchase Area Sexual Assault Center or you make a difference in someone's life, this segment we'd like to send the message to you that you can make the difference. If you are a victim, there is hope for you. And we just want to encourage you to make it your personal responsibility to send a message of hope this holiday season. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the final segment of Rays of Hope. We have some staff with us today that you normally would never get to see, and so what an opportunity to meet them today. We have Barbara Duber, Laquita Kelly. You are the behind-the-scenes folks at the Purchase Area Sexual Assault Center, and so what is unique about that, I think, is often we talk to the clinical department or we talk to the advocacy department, but you guys don't get an opportunity to speak about what the center means for you, and obviously, without you, the other departments would not be able to function. So thank you so much for what you do and for being here. I'm just going to give you just a minute to introduce yourself. Laquita, what do you do with the center?
I'm the accountant, and I've been there for almost 2 years.
I see. So you're the money lady.
Yes.
And Barbara?
I'm the office manager, and I've been there also 2 years.
I see. So new, relatively speaking,
new.
But I'm sure you do a wonderful job. Well, the theme today is hope, stories of hope, thoughts about the topic of hope, and I think that you all bring a very different perspective because you don't deal directly with the clients. Cleta doesn't. You, I'm assuming, do.
Yes.
So I'd just like for you to take a minute just to tell me, from an accountant's perspective, what is hope in terms of the center for you?
Well, basically, hope to me is every time somebody donates $20 or $5, it makes another person be able to get some assistance in some way. If we didn't have that coming in, those clients would not get the benefit of getting the treatment, getting well, being able to deal with the problems that they're having to go through right now. And if they didn't have that money, they wouldn't be able to do it at no cost, is the hope of the whole thing, is that it doesn't cost them a penny.
Well said. I'm sure that that's an amazing opportunity that you get to see the money that does come in. So I assume donations are very important.
Yes,
to
it
the
is.
center.
Very, very important. We need it just to stay open and to be able to provide the services that each and every one of the departments has come on and talked about before. If we didn't have that money coming in, we wouldn't have those departments to help those clients that really need it.
So this is an excellent time, I guess, for people to consider that as a way to provide hope.
Yes, it is. It's a perfect opportunity for someone to donate and look at being able to give that gift to somebody that maybe wouldn't have an opportunity to get it.
Thank you for bringing that particular topic into the discussion. I'm sure that is certainly true. Hope that it's free of charge. And Barbara, what about you? I'm assuming that you do sort of encounter clients every day. What's that like?
I do. I make their appointments for them by phone. I welcome them when they come in. And I think that hope is probably the change that you see in people over time. And
you have a very unique opportunity to
Yes.
see that change. What is that like for you?
well, it's wonderful to see them, you know, come so far, and I think that, you know, it's amazing what the therapists do there, and
And so you have the opportunity to make people feel at home
yes,
that very first initial time they walk in the door.
yes, and that's my favorite thing about my job is making the clients feel comfortable.
And I could see that you would obviously be very good at that. You have brought with you something to read.
I did. I
today.
brought a poem from one of our clients, and I think that this, you know, you really get to know a person through something like this, so I wanted to share that today.
Please, go ahead.
It's called Pollyanna. I am the good days as well as the bad. I am weak yet strong. I am longing yet fulfilled. Who am I? A question we all ask. For yesterday I looked into the mirror, getting ready for the day. I saw a beautiful woman looking back, a stranger, but me nonetheless. I said, "Who are you?" The image replied, "I am your mother and father, your grandparents and your kin. I am your yesterday and tomorrow. I was with you through all the days and the nights. I am your reflection, your soul, your heart. Look forward more than your glances back, but always remember I am you. I have survived my trials. They have shaped me. My perpetrators tempered me. My God made me. But most of all, I now choose to be me. When I need encouragement, it is only a mirror away. I can borrow her strength, her belief, and her resolve. I no longer need to try to draw it from those around me, for yesterday I found myself."
And how fitting to end this program with letting probably the most hopeful person have their voice, and that's the client. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us for Rays of Hope. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Laquita. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.